We need to determine the origin of reality. Those addicted to their embodied state in their chosen species can only see reality as coming from their material bodies and their material societies, education, religions, etc. Srila Prabhupada came to show us that reality means Krishna Loka, and that when we begin to see our eternal life from the perspective of pure spirit soul, that we can finally see reality from the point of view of Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada created ISKCON as a Kanistha Adhikari lifeboat, which is situated on the platform of Brahman, pure spirit
Can you
soul,
read a little more deliberately? Because it's a little hard to catch, basically.
so that neophytes can take birth after birth, advancing at their own rate toward the final destination of Uttama Adhikari, or fully self-realized resident of Krishna Loka. ISKCON was seized by the unelected GBC in 1970 and has not existed as Srila Prabhupada's gift to all of us since 1970. Guru Aparad means betrayal of the bona fide spiritual master, and that is what the GBC did in 1970. In order to increase the number of initiated devotees of Krishna and to open as many significant temples as possible, and to print as many of his books as possible, Srila Prabhupada appeared to go along with the so-called GBC that had invaded, infested, and overthrown his ISKCON movement. Once the unelected GBC no longer controls ISKCON, and each temple is individually incorporated, which will give them complete authority over their own temples, the temples will then be able to elect new GBC members from their membership of temple presidents for only 3-year terms. And ISKCON will rapidly begin to fulfill Srila Prabhupada's vision of saving the residents of planet Earth for the next 10,000 years. The present GBC have committed the following Guru Aparad. Number 1, centralized the incorporation of ISKCON on a global scale. Number 2, artificially control the temples and the ISKCON movement as totalitarian dictators, rather than temple presidents serving 3-year terms as GBC, in order to facilitate the opening of new independent temples and to create better integration with the Indian and Karmi society by incorporating business, educational facilities, and Sankirtan presentations to lead the public into pure transcendental ecstasy. 3, once elected for 3-year terms, the GBC will no longer have any self-created authority to appoint ISKCON gurus to lord it over ISKCON temples. The GBC have self-created themselves with no divine authority into a Vatican-styled unelected dictatorship. They want to make Srila Prabhupada's transcendental ISKCON movement into a mundane church religion, rather like Hinduism. The purpose of the unauthorized GBC appointing gurus is to be able to control the church ISKCON centers from the top, as the cardinals dominate and control all Catholic churches and priests. As soon as the initiated and non-initiated members of the present-day ISKCON temples, as those who contemplate joining ISKCON, can see that the present GBC is operating as a fraud, using stolen powers that they were never intended to have, then a movement will begin among the temple membership to return to Srila Prabhupada's elected GBC and independent incorporation of ISKCON temples, and the present-day non-elected GBC will have no basis for continuing their 52-year-old fraud. There is no other way for Lord Krishna's holy name to be distributed to every living entity over the next 10,000 years. Number 1, independent temples. Number 2, elected GBC. Number 3, Srila Prabhupada in the center as the last Sampradaya Acharya for the golden age of Kali. Number 4, initiations performed by officiating Acharyas. Disciples will then be Srila Prabhupada's disciples.
Jai. Yeah, this is a very wonderfully put and written, Narayan Prabhu.
Thank you.
some of these things I realized here in Sacramento,